Sweet Tooth, a love story baked to death. Cedric Mason's life was steeped in sugar and shadows. At 58, he was a wealthy man whose fortune came from a string of dessert cafes that dotted the city. His charm was undeniable, though people often whispered about the tragedy that followed him. Both his wives died years apart under unfortunate but unrelated circumstances. For the last year, Cedric had been quietly entangled with Lola Marcus, a woman half his age whose wit was as sharp as her smile. She was not his wife, nor was she a fling. She was his mistress, the one person who made him laugh at his own grief. Together, they were inseparable, united by midnight baking sessions and a fondness for teasing each other about their odd pairing. As autumn arrived, Cedric proposed a weekend escape. He booked an old country mansion known only to locals as Ashthorne Hollow. The house had a reputation. Its original owner, Ezekiel Ashthorne, had been a celebrated baker who vanished one stormy night while preparing an apple pie for a county contest. Since then, the house was rumored to be cursed, but Cedric brushed the story aside as rural superstition. The mansion loomed against the October sky with gables like jagged teeth and windows that reflected only the gloom. Inside, the air was thick with the ghost of cinnamon, cut by a sharp metallic tong, like old iron and pennies. The first night was quiet until, at 3 a.m, the oven timer rang, though the oven was unplugged. Determined to prove it was just a quirk of old wiring, Cedric went downstairs. There, in the moonlit kitchen, stood the translucent figure of a tall, gaunt man in a flower-streaked apron. The specter silently kneaded invisible dough before lifting its gaze to Cedric with hollow eyes that glowed like embers. Then it vanished, leaving behind a light dusting of sugar that smelled strangely of rust. The next evening, Cedric tried to lighten the mood by baking a pie to appease the ghost as he joked. Lola fetched an old ceramic jar labeled sugar, only to drop it in shock. The inside was not sugar at all, but a pale, gritty mix of white sand and small, unsettlingly perfect human teeth. Before they could flee, the candles extinguished themselves and the oven door swung open on its own. The apparition appeared again, but this time, its apron was stained dark with dried blood. Its voice, low and rasping, filled the room. Every pie requires a sacrifice. Tonight, you will be the fill-in. Panic set in as they bolted for the front door, but each exit they opened led them back to the same kitchen. Ashthorne Hollow seemed determined to keep them. Desperate, Lola cried out they were not there to disturb the house, that they were simply two people in love. For a moment, the specter's hollow gaze softened, and the rasping voice seemed to catch, shedding its malice. It murmured, "Love, the rarest, most expensive ingredient of all." With a heavy sigh, it raised a flour-dusted hand and clenched its fist. Suddenly, Cedric and Lola awoke at dawn in their car, which was parked just outside the mansion. The house loomed silently in the distance as though nothing transpired. On the dashboard sat a freshly baked apple pie, still warm and fragrant. Embedded neatly in the crust was a single gold molar, gleaming in the dawn light. Cedric's prized platinum watch, worth more than the car was gone. The sacrifice silently accepted, they never returned to Ashthorne Hollow. Yet every Halloween thereafter, a plain box would appear on Cedric's doorstep containing a perfect pie, warm to the touch, sweet with cinnamon, and always accompanied by a single tooth. Some love stories are sweet, some are bittersweet, and some are baked to death.